And we are live, Pamela. It is 6 o'clock on a Friday evening, and we are two ladies of project management, or at least it's one of those topics that we have in common that we love. And so we're here to talk about project management. But before we get into the topic of the live stream, I just want to introduce myself. I am Florence Renee, VP of Publicity and Sponsorship for PMI Central Illinois chapter. We are based in Bloomington, Illinois, so in the middle of the state, if you will. And this program is part of our social TV program where we try to get together with different people from all parts of life, different industries, different career journeys, and we bring them over to our chapter just to kind of get to know them, to introduce us, and have a conversation about their journey, their career journey, whatever initiatives that they're working on, and even books that maybe they've written a book and they want to talk about the book and maybe help somebody out there. So without going into like the whole backstory, I am delighted to have Pamela Prier as my very first guest for our Q3 live stream. My goal when I started out the year was to have one live stream per quarter, but I've met so many wonderful ladies. So far, it's been only females, only women so far. I'm hoping to turn that around and bring a gentleman over to our studio so we can get the different perspectives. We just want to like have a conversation, right? This is not a Q&A. Like, I'm not a professional interviewer. You're not like a professional speaker. We're just two people who love what we do, love the field, and we think we have something to contribute. And so we're here to just talk and share ideas. So the views and thoughts, opinions that we express tonight is basically our own. It's not, PMI. It's not my chapter, your chapter, the Alamo chapter. It's certainly not our employers. So it's basically our own views, our own thoughts from our experiences. And we're just going to have a conversation about Pamela, your journey. You are the guest of honor. So this is your show and it's all about you. So with that in mind, Pamela, I have gotten to know you a little bit, but for the people who are watching us now or later, can you introduce yourself to us? Who are you? Where are you based currently? We can just start with that and we can kind of weave our conversation through.
Well, thank you, Florence. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you on this Friday night. It is shining brightly here in San Antonio, Texas, where I am located. So with that being said, let me just give you a little bit about me. Pamela Prier. I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia, born and raised, was there for large part of my life, of course. Did a little traveling, relocating here and there. But I landed here in San Antonio in 2019, working in the financial services industry for several years. My background in project management actually started many years ago working with an organization in Columbus, Georgia. And that's where I got my interest. I started out as a quality assurance analyst with an organization, and a colleague had just moved into the project management field. And I hadn't heard of that before, and it piqued my interest. So as a lifelong learner and an interest in things that are of interest to me, I sought out the local chapter, project management, PMI chapter in Columbus, Georgia, and got connected there. From there, I was able to move into a new position in project management. And it was through my connection at the PMI local chapter in Columbus, Georgia, that really started to develop my love for project management, my knowledge base. It was there through the leadership that really encouraged me to pursue my certification, which I was able to do and hold on to that. And I have found that to be just that foundation in my career for all these years. Here in San Antonio, because of the relocation, one of the first things that I did to get connected with the community was get involved and get connected with the local chapter. Because here in the area, it was very new to me. I just decided to have a different change in my life, and God opened the door for me and I went through it. And it was through there, just building that connection with the community. Then of course we had the big disruption past couple of years. Yeah. Yes. But that really started my journey in project management and financial services. And that's what I've been doing for the past several years of my career.
Wonderful. And what I love about what you just said is the networking and how that you use the chapter connections that you made. You leverage relationships to get to where you are today. I don't think I quite catch what you do currently. Like, what do you do today? Like, what's your day job presently?
Sure. So right now I am a senior project manager for a financial institution based out of Kansas City, Missouri. I've been there for, this is going on about a year and a half, started out as a contractor and then came on board full time. So right now we are involved with moving our, portfolio to a credit card processor that I used to work for, actually. So it was there that, when you are involved with a community and you've been with organizations for a while, you do build those friendships and that network. And what I can appreciate with the opportunity that I have now by working with individuals that I worked with many years ago is that that friendship is there, and you just have a little extra influence, if you will, by being in the position that you're in now. And that really helps to make for, first of all, for the project to go a little bit better. You have that ally, if you will, with people that you worked with before in that networking. And it just helps, move the project forward. And also in project management, you learn how, as a project manager, you don't always have the power within an organization. You don't own the resources. They don't report to you. However, by building your project management and leadership skills that are under that project management umbrella, it teaches you how to form those networks, because those are critical when you're trying to get things done. And it helps you to move your project forward.
Like the soft power, basically.
Absolutely. Those, what they call those soft skills, right? And in project management, we build, the desires, you build that business acumen, but those leadership skills, those soft skills, as we know them to be coined by, are really the people skills, because, human resources, we're human people, and you have to learn how to work with people to get your work done.
Yeah, that makes sense. That really does make sense. Now, I don't work as a PM officially, but I've been on many, many projects. And from my experience, like, the relationships are really, really important. People will go the extra mile for you, depending on how you were the last time. So it's really good to maintain good rapport. Like, be pleasant and not be firm, be about your requirements, making sure you go after your goals and everything. But the relationships, the people side is very, very important.
Right.
So you've been working as a project manager in project management for how many years now, would you say?
For 20 plus years now.
So you are a vet.
Project manager.
You are a vet. I wouldn't call myself a vet, but I've been on projects for really most of my career. So far, I'm in 15, 17 years altogether. So I'm around your timeline.
Right.
So now you started with the Georgia chapter, you got with the Alamo chapter. Are you involved with your local chapter? Like, do you volunteer? Do you even have time to volunteer? How's that relationship going?
That's a great question, because as we move throughout our career, we change positions. And in my case, I changed a whole different state. My ability to volunteer and my hours weren't the same now as they were, a couple of years ago, because in the Columbus, Georgia chapter, I was able to hold different positions and you're involved a little bit more. But here in the Alamo chapter, I have not had the opportunity to be as involved. I recently, just wanted to step in just a little bit more to volunteer, because now that things are different socially, it's opening up different doors. So I am making it a point to get reconnected with the organization by attending events where I can.
Yes. I love project management, but I also love the people. Like I said, the people is a big factor. And I would say even in our small chapter, I don't know how many members the Alamo chapter has, but we have about 600 members. I haven't met all of them yet, but the ones that I've met, they've been really welcoming. As a new chapter member, chapter leader, they've been very welcoming. So I would imagine that will be your experience too, when you get, more, or I guess more involved with your local chapter, and maybe you might even, go for a board position and do something with the leadership over there. I think it's a great, it's one of those things that the giving back is it feels really good to give back, but then you're also learning too. You're learning as you volunteer and as you get deeper into that whole chapter world, the whole community. Now, I did want to ask you, going back, so you've been doing project management for 20 years, but did you always, you fell into it kind of, from what I understand. So what did you want to do prior to project management? What was your career, like your dream career?
When I started out in project management, is right before then, it was, again, starting out in a quality assurance analyst position. So I was still fairly young in my business career. At the time, had 2 small children and wanted to seek for something that was going to be able to make, earn the type of income that I needed to earn in order to take care of my family. And so having a view of what I wanted to be when I grew up in the business world, I really didn't have that. But I was fortunate enough, very thankful that I did find project management, because it has served me well over the course of all these years. And because of that, not only am I able to, continue to grow in my career, because there's always something new to learn. Leadership is a passion of mine. And now you speak to, when you're referring to giving back, just being in that, in project management, and I have served on board positions in the previous chapter, you develop those skills. And because of that, you're able to give back. And in my particular instance, to my children. They're adults now. They're in the world, their own careers, but being able to be a sounding board for them, for the experiences they're going through, to help them, coach them in some of their activities, especially in the business world, because as young leaders are coming through, as you know, in organizations, having a foundation or a leadership training program just does not exist in many instances. So a passion of mine is to help those new young leaders that are, helping them to navigate in their career, and coaching them and giving them advice on how to handle working with a peer, or speaking with your leader, or speaking up for some of the things that you need in order to help you do your job well. Work-life balance, because it is important. Mental health is important. And there are sometimes when you just have to stand up for yourself and ask for those things. You have not because you ask not. So being able to grow in my career, and now to give back and give some consulting to some of the younger generations is fun.
And I do want to talk about that, because I know that, but before you get to the point where you say, or one says, I want to give back, I want to have XYZ program, I want to do this. Did you take stock of your did you give yourself like a personal assessment and kind of say, this is my brand, this is what I want to do, this is my target? Did you have a process? Like, how did you land on leadership?
Yeah, I was introduced to a program at Columbus State University in Columbus, Georgia. It's a master's program in organizational leadership. And they didn't have this when I was going through the first time around with my master's program. So this was an awesome program, which was really undergirded under the principles of servant leadership. And so that was my introduction to leadership. It just really sparked a passion for that. And, look around, you recognize that even though people are in leadership positions, they're not always great leaders, right? Not to say that's been my experience. I've been fortunate to have some really good leaders, but that's not always the case. Mm-hmm. And through the program, I gained an understanding of what leadership should be, what we should aspire to become as leaders, because I believe leadership really is a ministry, because you are responsible for the livelihood of people that report to you or those around you. And I would say you have the ability, whether you know it or not, to have influence on whether or not I'm going to go home and kick my cat because I've had a rough day at the office working with a leader who is maybe not that great. You've heard the term, working in toxic environments. Yep. Toxic environments are built on, from people. Yep. And I want, to be able to influence the new leaders that are in there, or even existing leaders, because there's always something to learn. And you have the open heart and having integrity. Those things are important with the people that you lead, because what I want to do is make the workplace a better place to work.
Right. So you basically, you were influenced by your experience, obviously, and the types of leaders you've worked under, and you feel like you have something to contribute, obviously, right? You feel like you can make a difference. For your program, Leadership Consciousness, like, who's your focus? Is it women? Is it like anybody? Like, who's your target?
And that's a great question, because over the past couple of months, when you speak about, well, how did I know this is what I wanted to do, the passion and just to give back, what ignited it, to identify what that niche or that target market is evolving, right? And right now I'm working with, as I mentioned, my children are young adults working in their fields now, and I see the value in being able to share with them. So my target, the audience that I'm looking to help grow are those newly emerging leaders that are starting off in their careers, maybe a couple years into their career, and they're looking for some mentorship. They're looking for some guidance. They're looking for some support in helping them navigate through the workplace.
So it sounds like mostly young professionals, any kind of industry, all backgrounds. There's no, okay. So right. It's like a wide net.
Exactly. The net is wide as of right now, and that will continue to narrow in as that continues to develop, because launching out into this leadership platform is new, and I'm excited about it. So as it continues to grow and evolve, so will my approach to it and the people that I'm looking to help and serve.
Yep. So do you have like a whole, I know you said you reach out to your kids, but do you have other people in this initiative with you, or is this like strictly your brainchild and you are the fearless leader? Like who's in this fight with you?
I love that. This is my brainchild, and I lean on the people right now that I know that are starting out in their career. Mm-hmm. And the brainchild, it's starting to give light to what it is that, for future that I will seek to do. But right now, in the space that I'm in, continue to serve with the organization that I'm with right now, and started building out this platform. And in the meantime, I've had other individuals that I've worked with and just kind of shared that consulting and the words of advice, and finding that is really growing. And I've also, worked with leaders that are, a little bit more seasoned in their career and want to just develop in their leadership skills. And my goal is to hopefully, shed some light on principles that maybe have been forgotten or not even, considered, principles about, being humble and integrity, and asking, starting out with the basis of good questions to ask when you're starting out with a new team or a new career. So the leadership consciousness is based on the SHINE principle, where we want to talk about, service, humility, integrity, and never back down. There's always a nevertheless, to have a little bit more fight in you. And then the energy that you bring to your organization and things that you do. Those are principles that are undergirded with pillars, a lot of which are spiritual principles that have served me over the course of my career.
So this program is, I think, online, right?
It will be. It will be an online program that launches later in this year. Okay. So you'll have a website and all that good stuff. Maybe like
if somebody wants to kind of follow up with you and know what's going on with this program, they can just connect with you on LinkedIn and kind of like stay plugged in that way, right? Is that
absolutely? And I'll be sure, Florence, to keep you posted on things that are happening here as you continue to spread your network, because partnership and networking are the things that are our channels to help spread knowledge.
That's awesome. Now, I will say one of my goals is to give back in that way, but I feel like I'm not there yet. I feel like I need a little bit more. So I applaud you for pulling the trigger. Like I was telling you offline, that I'm a little bit of a perfectionist where I have to feel like I have everything lined up. But I think what you're doing, pulling the trigger, is so big, and it just shows your character too. Like, that's very inspiring. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, thank you, Florence. It has taken me a couple of years just to get to the point of pulling the trigger. So I encourage you, don't give up. Just don't quit. Because when you have something in your heart that you really want to bring to the betterment of, your community, those around you, it means that it's something that's needed. It's that small voice that's encouraging you to keep moving forward. As long as you don't, give up on it. Because even though you may put it down, there's always going to be that desire in your heart. And that's just that small voice speaking to you.
Yeah. The funny thing, as far as I'm concerned, with me, it's getting louder and louder. So I don't be surprised if I announce some kind of thing. You know how people make these LinkedIn announcements? I might be one of those people in the near future, because it's really it's one of those things. It's a passion.
Yes.
I want to do more. And so meeting people like you, and like I was throwing out names from the group that I met you in, like meeting all of you, it's like, wow, it's like, Florence, you can go and do this, and they're doing it. So yeah, I love it.
Well, Florence, I applaud you for having this platform, because it was through the group that we were just talking about where I found you, and it was just it's a blessing for me, and I appreciate it, and I thank you for it, because I don't see many others that are doing this. So you are blazing a trail, Florence. So I applaud you. So thank you.
Thank you. As far as working with people and leadership and everything, do you remember, or if you don't mind sharing, like a defining moment where you had to make that choice to find the leader within? Do you remember an example or something that happened in your career where you had that, it was like the fork in the road?
As I mentioned before, being exposed to the servant leadership program at Columbus State, that was the eye opener. That was the turning point for me for leadership. And that's where I started to appreciate what leadership really should be about for me. And I took, those principles, and I have continued to study. I've continued to read different leadership books. We always take, I'm sure you're familiar with taking assessments and different things like that. And it's interesting for me, across multiple assessments, one of my top 5 is always love of learning. Love of learning, spirituality, and humility, generous, those type of characteristics. And I lean on those, and I'm embracing who I am, because as I was just sharing with you, that small voice that just encourages you to move forward. It is for us to shine as a leader. So it was through that, the program that really opened the door and that fork in the road for me to develop my leadership skills. It was always important for me to be competent in the things that I did. And there were times when I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel confident in the way that I showed up during my meetings. As a project manager, we're leading many meetings. You're in front of, people all the time, or in this case, Zoom calls or what have you. And showing up in confidence was something that I needed to develop, and I continue to develop. But I continue to lean on the principles that I've learned over the years to get me through whatever situation that I'm in, because situations change. They're different. Sometimes you may run into an individual or an experience that may be hard, right? And that's when you have to, dig your heels in, lean on the things that to be true about yourself, treating people with respect, integrity. And sometimes, Florence, you just really have to humble yourself and say, I don't know the answer, but I am going to seek it out. And that never give up principle, showing up with passion, being energized about the things that you do, about the people that you work with. Because as a leader, people see you. You are the forefront. You are the one that is leading the team in the direction, right? And you may not always think it or recognize it, but people are always watching. And the way that you show up influence the people that are around you. You show up with love and the enthusiasm in your voice. It makes a difference. And it makes a difference with the people that you work with. Now, they may not always say that. You may not always get that validation, but you have to know within yourself that you are doing what you need to do to build your confidence, to build your competency, so that you can continue to serve the organization that you're with and the things that you're doing.
Have you had your leadership or something in you or who you are questioned through your journey in corporate America and working in? Have you had that situation, like your leadership skills? Have you had that questioned?
If it was questioned, I wasn't aware.
That's good. That's good.
Not to say that it doesn't or can't happen. I think for me, I'm the biggest I'm my biggest cheerleader, and I try to be my biggest cheerleader. Mm-hmm. And that's why I try to share with those that I come in contact with, that I help consult or a mentor, is that you have everything within you to be who you need to be. You're not lacking. And sometimes people just need that encouragement. Mm-hmm. And we don't always have the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation, or even realize that I wish I had somebody to talk to. If I look at myself 20 years ago, when I first started out in my career, I didn't have anyone that I felt as if that was that example for me. Mm-hmm. That was someone who really kind of took me under their wing and helped be that mentor and their encourager. I think that's what really drove me to learn more about not so much either leadership or just growing up as an individual, because I had so many other responsibilities, and it was important for me to be a good example or set the best example that I could for my family. And so that drove me, right? My faith and my spirituality and my growth in that were foundational for me to be the person that I am today, and to give, again, that example for my family. And so for me, it was always a personal drive to be better But to service is very, just really important on how we live our lives and the way that we touch other people's lives that are around us.
So, you know how you said you didn't have anybody initially when you were coming up to kind of take you under your wings. I just recently learned that maybe since COVID, because, the COVID time you had to be on lockdown. So I was doing a lot of thinking, self-reflection.
Yes.
And I realized I really never had, I thought I had people, but I never really had a consistent sponsor or like an advocate or a mentor. It's always been here, like blips, and it really made my path a little bit more challenging. Is that your assessment? Like not having that foundation, not having those people in your corner from the start. Do you find that when you're looking back, do you find that you went through so much for no reason at all? Like if you only had people in your corner, like do you have that reflection where your journey was just unnecessarily hard?
I think every journey is personable, but we're all are on a journey, and I wouldn't change anything.
Yes.
My journey prepared me and has placed me to where I am today. Right. So I've found my own foundation. I found my own platform. I sought out the education that was important to me that I believe would help me get to where I was going. And where I was going was building that confidence within myself to be able to show up. Because like I said before, I'm my biggest cheerleader. So I want to be able to be, better at every time. Had I had a mentor or someone who took me under their wing, not to say that I did not have individuals like that, but I love the word that you said, the consistent. It was, it was in one place, but may not necessarily been in every place. So I took it upon myself to continue to better myself with the skill sets. And I had others that could, bounce things off of, if you will. But I became my own advocate. Yes. And recognize that, when I'm led of the Spirit and I go the place where doors are open for me, I know that it's divinely guided. And that's the way that I live my life. And it's always been it served me well. And I know it will continue to serve me throughout my life. So that's why I say that I'm looking at my younger self. And if I can speak up a word of encouragement to younger people or people that I come into contact with, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm seeking and to do. And even though I've mentioned a couple of times with my children, because they are very important to me, I love them very dearly. And my son and I have a son that's in Huntsville, Alabama, and another son. He and his wife are in Dallas. I'm very close to them. So, and I have a niece in Brooklyn, New York. All of my babies, and I'm very proud of all of them. So, just to have that person who can speak life into others is important to me. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, a young person starting out in their careers, because as I said before, there are leaders that may not really realize they could have some opportunity to improve their leadership skill. And they may be very seasoned here in the game and been a long time. And that's one of the things about characteristics about leadership is that self-awareness, realizing that maybe I could improve my leadership skills a little bit, and even though training programs aren't always there in organizations, having that self-awareness to be able to say, what can I do to make it better for the people that I serve in my organization. That's one of the first steps into recognizing that you may want to seek out some opportunities to deepen your leadership skills or to grow.
Gotcha. I meant to ask you, and we're staying on this leadership topic because it's really what it's about, especially for women and us people of color. It's something that it's a space that we have to be more integrated in. So do you plan on having corporate partners for your program? I know you're still working through the finer details, but is that a goal? That way you're not what I'm noticing is that when you're out alone and you don't have especially like the money and everything, it's like, but if you have a sponsor, maybe your job, I don't know, I don't remember who you work for. It's a bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have any kind of like program? Is this something you're going to do strictly independent from, like sponsors? You won't include them in the picture? Like, how's that relationship?
Well, right now it's solely independent.
Okay.
And as I continue to grow in my strategic planning,
Okay.
I would consider being a part of a sponsorship sometime in the future. And the reason why I seek to have that type of partnership, because I believe that your corporate, your larger organizations do have some form of training, right? In a sense. But what I'm seeing and what my heart is leaning towards are smaller organizations, your small businesses. Many times in those organizations or a company like that, you have a leader, president, owner who has a specific skill set, and they have a company that they've built around that. Many may not necessarily consider developing in their leadership skills, mm-hmm. because that's not something that really has built the business, right? Someone that has a service industry, they know their industry, but and then people, when they come on board, when they continue to scale and grow and bring people on board, they may find themselves having revolving doors of resources of people going in and out. And that could be because of a lack of leadership skills or being able to understand how to lead mm-hmm. an organization once it grows. Because being responsible for all of the work in an organization, it also includes being responsible for the resources and the people that serve you, that are there to help you build your business and build your empire. But you got to take care of your people. You take care of your people will take care of your customers, and that takes care of your bottom line. So that's where I am considering and kind of leaning towards, just helping those smaller organizations, small businesses, really leaders build their leadership skills and help serve their people.
And I think that makes sense, because for the most part, the people who need it most are the people without the corporate, overlord.
Right.
The deeper pockets. So
right.
That makes sense. Now, as far as like the future and everything, I know you said your kids are grown. So how are you planning? How are you doing as far as work-life balance with this program you're adding on? You're taking on more. This is like a baby, right? So how do you intend to kind of manage work-life balance and navigate that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Work-life balance is important. Mental health is important. So I make it a point to rest when I need to rest. And you're right. This is a baby. This is a brainchild that is starting to birth out and get to the light of day. And it's about being able to follow my passion, my desire, what I believe is my something that I'm here to do. And until that really takes off, I make a conscious effort to apply the principles and the skills that I've learned in the place that I'm in right now. And for that, it would be a balancing act, but I believe that when you are really engulfed in something that you're passionate about, you find the time. You may have to apply a little bit more discipline, a little bit more focus, speaking to myself, mm-hmm. to really achieve the things that you want to do. So it is a mindset change, mindset shift. You have to be more on the things that you want to do, a little less on social media, even though we met through social media. It has
right?
Yeah. Be more strategic in the things that you're involved in, I should say that.
But these days, can you really avoid, I'm just speaking in general terms, avoid social media? I really, even if you try to reduce it, your presence, I don't know. I don't know what that would look like.
Well, and that's a great question. What is it going to look like? That's where I have to make a decision on what it is that the way that I want it to look like. Because clearly, Florence, there are times when days are hard. There's a lot of work that needs to get done, and with the things that you're already committed to. And sometimes all I want to do is sit in my recliner and scroll on social media and just kind of zone out for a little bit. I mean, it has its place, right? It has its place, and it's just a part of our society and part of our culture. It's not going away. It will continue to evolve. But there's that level of self-discipline that you have to apply. And if you say you want to do what you want to do, you need to do what you need to do.
Right. Get it done.
Get it done.
And I'm sure you will get it done. And, you've raised 2 kids and you've balanced a career, progressed nicely from what I've seen on your profile.
Grateful.
So you definitely have all the elements in place and should be easy peasy.
Oh, praise God. Thank you.
Should be easy, right? Let's hope.
We'll keep in touch so you'll know.
Yeah. So do you feel like with you having this leadership program and this big goal, so do you feel like you have a personal brand? Is that your brand? Like, how do you show up?
For sure. So I've started to show up. And as I said before, I appreciate this platform to be able to do that. This came at a time when I knew the shift was happening for me to, just set some personal goals for myself. So when I show up in that mindset. I'm representing the Leadership Consciousness Program and what that is going to do and how it's going to serve people. So when I wear, I think about, I need to be on brand, right? So that speaks to the things that we are, experiencing now in social media and personal branding, because it's, like I said before, it's not going away. This is the world that we live in. So it's a consciousness about it on the way that I show up with that in mind.
Gotcha. Now, do you, how you said you don't have a specific target? It's going to be online. Do you plan on, it's a big question, do you plan on maybe putting something down on paper, like a book, and talk about the 7 principles, like your spin? Is that in your future? Like, what do you, like, where do you go next? With this program, like, what else is there but a book and workshops, like diversify it, take it even further?
Well, thank you, Florence, for speaking all of that out. Yes.
I'm putting ideas in your head, right?
I love it. I can see it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Putting pen to paper. I'm growing to learn to believe, for bigger things. I've been in different business programs to really shift that mindset, because when we, while we're here, I believe you have a purpose, right, for being here. We show up on the things that we do. And I've heard it learned from another program. I've been different programs that, purpose evolve, things change. And this is the season that I'm in right now. So what is in front of me, I'm excited to see. The mindset shift has been amazing, and for me, and it continues to shift and change. I'm involved with a book club with some individuals that encourage me to grow, and we've been reading different books and sharing knowledge, encouraging one another, and we're thinking about different goals that we want to kind of reach together. So beyond with the online program, some individual, coaching and consultation, sponsorship, books, getting this word out there the way that I need to do. So those are things I can certainly, I can do. The world is a big place, and there's a lot of abundance out there, and people who need to, to be encouraged and inspired. And it's a real career, and people can do it.
Yeah. And like you said, like your view, I actually wrote it down when you said it, like leadership is a ministry. That's like such a profound and true statement, really. So it's where you go with this, who knows, basically. and you have the passion for it. So
thank you. Yeah. Leadership is not something to take lightly. It really isn't. It has an influence on not only for yourself, and you have to, check your motives sometimes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Now, when you, how you kind of touched on it, but I don't think you went, like, what would you say to your younger self? You kind of went, but I don't think you, because we've been talking and about everything, right? So what would you go back and say to your younger self?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that question back, because when I saw that as one of the questions, I was excited, and I really almost feel teary-eyed right now to really answer that. What I would tell myself is that you can do it. Mm-hmm. You can do it. I remember thinking to myself, because of my situation, how am I going to buy a house for my family, for me and my children? How am I going to do that? And I have been blessed to purchase 4 houses. This is the 4th house that I'm in, right? How am I going to, grow where am I going to go from here? And I would tell myself that you can do it. You did it. The lack of confidence or lack of feeling of competency, you already have it. You are going to grow, and you're going to learn, and you're going to have joy and love and laughter. You're going to have a beautiful family, a great family life, and your children will be strong, and they're going to be independent. They're going to go on to do their own things and make their own mark here in the world. You're going to meet friends that are going to be lifelong friends. You're going to have people who love you, who are surrounded by love. You're going to have different experiences. But most importantly, you're going to be all right. You're going to survive. You're going to be okay. And you're going to do well. And you're going to have, it's a big, the future is big. The days ahead of me are better than the days behind me. And that's what I would tell myself. You're going to be all right. You're going to do okay.
Awesome. I like that. Do you feel as though you need to have a big, to keep yourself motivated? Do you feel like you got to have a big rock, like a big goal to kind of chase after? Or are you more like the small incremental type of person? Like, how do you do your goal setting, like your process, if you don't mind sharing?
Sure.
How do you go about that?
I'm a big goal person, Florence. The small increments do not work well for me. And I have just come to terms with that. I have to have a goal. Yes, the small increments. And it's interesting that you asked that question, because really, I just came to that realization for myself. I am embracing who I am, what's important to me, how I am, how I show up, what works for me. And I don't have to fit myself into, I don't know what other mold that I think I need to be in. I don't have to do that. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. I am who I am. And that is enough. And what I feel, and it's okay. And it makes me who I am. And I realize that I'm a big goal person. I have to have a goal. I have to have something to strive for. Otherwise, time is wasted. And time is not to be wasted. We don't have time to waste.
Yes.
I have to be a big goal person that gives me inspiration. It gives me energy. The small incrementals do not move me forward. Actually, they don't move me forward. I have to have a big goal for me in order to get inspired, to get up in the morning, to do as much as I can towards the things that I need to do. So I'm definitely a big goal person.
And how do you, how you have the goal and you have your heart set on it? Like, how do you handle failure so far? Like, you sound very spiritual. You are grounded in your family and everything. I think I know the answer, but how do you deal with the setbacks and not quite, almost reaching that goal, or even when they were smaller and you fumble somehow? Like, how do you overcome the challenges?
Yeah. I've learned to pick myself back up. I've learned to deepen and grow my faith. I've learned that prayer is needed from me. I've learned that failure is not the end, and life will continue to move forward. You have to get back up. And as long as you have eyes on that end goal, however way you get there, it's going to be okay. There's going to be ups and downs. Failure isn't final. You can move forward. Dig your heels in. Keep moving forward. That end goal is what the goal is, right? How you get there, you may go twists and turns. It's never going to be a straight shot. Yeah. But that how you get there and getting there is what's important. And that's the encouraging part. It's not always been easy. There have been things even within myself that I continue to try and master, to get through and grow in. So I've come to the place where I understand failure isn't the end of the road. I mean, it doesn't have to end that way. There's always another day. There's always new grace and mercy in the mornings when you get up and try again. Mm-hmm. Speaking my words, the things that I say, the way that I think, the things that I look at, stay surrounded by encouragement. Sometimes I have to encourage myself. So those are the things that I'm learning, and I have continued to learn and been conscious of to keep going, mm-hmm. Not losing hope, keeping my faith to keep me moving forward.
Gotcha. I would say I have a similar mindset when it comes to that. Like, pick yourself up, keep mm-hmm. going. And mm-hmm. I'll cry a little bit, though. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'll cry a little bit, throw a little pity party. And then I just kind of like psych myself out and mm-hmm. go back.
Absolutely. I mean, we're human, and those are human emotions, and that's fine. And that's the thing that I'm understanding. It's okay to be me. It's okay wherever I am in. It is okay. Like I said, life is a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And there's going to be joy that's going to come in the morning. It's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right. Uh-huh. That is awesome. I love this conversation because with what we do every day, things can get very technical, mm-hmm. and you don't get to kind of like have the people conversation, like the more deeper level conversation, what drives mm-hmm. these people we work with. And so I'm really loving this conversation tonight. I hope that anybody else who's watching now or later, they get something from it, and that they support you when you launch the Leadership Consciousness, because I'll be watching for updates and news and support you how I can. Next fall, I think you said, right? Mm-hmm. In the fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Florence.
Yeah, I'll be there cheering you on, and reach out if you ever need any help. Because one thing I want to do as, not even as a chapter leader for Central Illinois, is to kind of like connect and give back in more than one way. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like if I had someone like me, like you, life would have been like so much better.
We can be that way for others now, right? Because we recognize what the things that we didn't have.
So we're turning around and making sure mm-hmm. we do that. So I'm excited about the program. Any parting words? Any final thoughts on project management as a career? Because to me, it sounds like it was a game changer for you. Mm-hmm. It really you agree with that?
Really was. It really was. It really was the gateway in that career that has helped me to become the person that I am today. It gave me the platform. It continues to give me the platform to help, to develop my skills even more, because every day is different and you don't know everything. There's always opportunity to learn. So that's why I enjoy being part of the PMI organization. You learn from others, from your peers, and it's a network. And even with the organization that connected us together, you see others that are starting out in their careers, and you can be of give some advice. So it's been a great career. I can't complain. It's been really good.
I think just recently, I know we're coming up to an hour, but just recently I read that the PMP and the CAPM were like the top two certifications that are out there. It was Entrepreneur Magazine who did that this article, and they had basically Project Management Institute as the leading provider, like in two spots. The top two spots were project management related. So, and I think based on your career, and I would even put myself in there too, especially if you're a minority, you have something you wanna be creative, you can be technical. It's like a wide net. And like there's so many avenues you can go. Your career doesn't have to look like everybody else. You can really make it look how you want it to look. I love it. And I think from everything you said, I think I know the answer. You love it. And we would welcome anybody, right, to kind of like get certified and obviously join your PMI chapter, all that good stuff, and grow your skills and definitely give back when you are able. So with that said, I do want to wrap up. We are at 55 minutes. It went by kind of quick. I don't know if you noticed.
This is my first, and I didn't know how long, because I asked how long it's going to be.
It went by quickly. It really did. It went by quickly, and your passion came through as far as I'm concerned. And I just hope the best for your leadership program and you as a person, as a businesswoman, and all that good stuff. So I will wrap up in saying that with this program, as you can tell, it's not strictly about how do you do project management. It's about the motivation, like where you come from. It's like all the little things that your deliverables will not say, right? It's those things. So if you are interested in sharing your story and or maybe you do want to talk about something more technical, I am wide open to basically all people, all topics, virtually all topics. And so reach out to me so you can be on the next episode. I know I said one live per quarter, but I am the overachiever apparently. So if I can squeeze in one or two more, that would make me feel so much better. And I would love to speak and meet many more project management professionals, product management professionals, just people in general with something to say, with something that they want to give back and put out there. Hit me up and we can connect you on LinkedIn and we'll make something happen together. As far as the PMI Central Illinois chapter, we do have an event coming up on August 17th. It's around AI, low-code development. It's in partnership with PMI Dallas. If you go on our chapter website, PMI-CIC.org, you go under events, you can actually find the August 17th event and register. And as project managers, people who do project work, we have to be prepared for whatever AI brings us, right? Yes. Whatever the whole, the industry, the whole tech, all the changes, we have to always constantly be learning and preparing our skills and upskilling as we need to. And then on the 24th, I believe, we have our new member orientation with Pamela Clapp. She's the chapter president. So if you have any kind of questions about what it's like being a member at CIC, maybe even volunteering, you're looking to get into project management, but you're not really sure, you just want to like network a little bit, reach out and sign up for that August 14th orientation meeting with Pam, and she will answer whatever questions that you have. Connect with us, Pamela. I will have your LinkedIn contact in I did tag you. So if you're watching and you want to follow up with Pamela, absolutely do so and keep up with her. and
Yeah.
support her leadership consciousness effort. And hopefully she'll use your support to kind of fuel and achieve everything she's been wanting to achieve. So with that, I will just give you the last word, Pamela. Anything you want to say before we wrap up? It is now an hour of this live.
Thank you, Florence. I will say at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that you weren't a professional interviewer and I wasn't a professional speaker, but I will say, yes, you are. And yes, I am. And thank you so very much for your words of encouragement. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, I look forward to seeing what you do and in the next few weeks, months, and whenever. So let's stay connected.
We will.
And thank you for saying yes to my idea, because not everybody's not willing to come up and get on social media and chat with a perfect stranger. I think we met like 3-4 months ago. It's been a long time, and we've been nurturing this and working on it. So, and now we've birthed it, and now I can't wait to kind of go back and watch it myself, and as a regular person, like not the host, and learn something, because I feel like I will learn even more by watching, your thoughts and what you had to share tonight.
It's a lot of fun. I'm grateful.
Yes,
thank you.
I had a good time with you.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will call it quit. Like I said, hit me up if you want to be on our next episode of PMI-CIC on the air, and follow me on LinkedIn, follow my chapter, follow Pamela, and let's just connect it. Let's get social. Have a good one.